So hi, this is Jessica with Alternate Parent Life again. This is my second video today. I did a 221 a minute ago. Oh, and you'll notice my beautiful little Boston Terrier here. Brandy, she's probably going to bark. Oh, there's Tutu in the background actually. So this is a extension on the RingSling video I posted earlier. It goes into a little bit more detail on how to do the shoulder and how to wear your ring sling. So this is a ring sling I had made for a bigger girl. This is a plus size. I believe this is a full 2.5 yards. Not trimmed. You'll notice this isn't hemmed because we never got as far as making pockets. But you'll see here is my seam, a nice little rolled hem on both sides. And then up at the top, because this was my salvage end, I had this gingham scrap. One scrap has to be a single piece. This was my salvage side. I just did a zigzag here to make sure that it stayed, there wasn't any issues with it. This is a Sleepy Baby Productions or a pleated shoulder. However, because of the gingham, it's kind of hard to, I got a little pleat out of place there. It's kind of hard to see that it's pleated. But I'll show you how to do that. This is just a scrap piece of fabric so I can kind of show you guys what's going on here. So you'll see that I have some pins here that I've already started. So how you would do that is you would just take the one end and you kind of keep folding. And then what I would do is I would pin this and then iron it. And then you would make another fold here and pin it and iron it. I like 1-inch pleats at least. These are a little bit bigger. These are 2-inch pleats, but you'll see how there's a pleat here, 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 because we did bigger pleats. So after a while, you start to get what looks like this. And then you would, sorry, cloth diaper day. So you'll see some cloth diapers back there. But so then you would just keep working and kind of fold it over and pin it and iron it. Fold it over, pin it and iron it. Fold it over, pin it and iron it. Fold it over, pin it and iron it to where it's all the way done. So when you get to that point, this end happens to be the salvage end. Most likely, if you're cutting your fabric, you won't have salvage ends at the shoulder. If you're cutting your fabric wisely, I just had a giant piece of gingham. Most people won't cut it that way. But what you'll most likely do is measure out your 2.5, cut that, and then cut that last 15 inches off, the entire 2.5 yards to get your 30, or however, it's usually 45 inches, so you'd cut to get your 32. It doesn't end up 13 inches, not 15. But so you can fold it in 1 inch if you have no salvage end. Okay, so you'll have all your pleats. You want to do your pleats on the shoulder, on the part of the shoulder that will show. So like if I have it this way, this part of the shoulder will show. This is the side I'm going to work the pleats on. So that way this shoulder is the prettiest. This, who cares? Nobody's going to see, but this is what everyone's going to see. So you want to work from that side. So you'd fold it in 1 inch. Here's some rings. It's a cotton, so I'm going to use medium rings. Some people prefer large rings. And then you just want to put it down just about maybe 4 inches from where you did your 1 inch in. And fold it over. And then pin it in place, if you can sew. all of this is dependent on if you can sew. If you cannot sew, I'm going to show you in a minute what you do. You don't have to do all the pleating and all that stuff. When you tie a knot, all that pleat comes out. So I have kind of some pleats here because I folded it nicely, and then you will sew your first line. Remember how we did 4 inches down? So this should be 4 inches. That's where you're going to sew. You're going to sew one tack line. You're going to sew your first straight seam about where the 1 inch is here. So about 1 inch up. You're going to do right where your 4 is. Your straight seam, your tack seam, and your second straight seam. All in that 4th inch. So it actually ends up being 3 inches in here. The 4th inch is for sewing. That makes a nice tight, okay? So, if you can't sew, I gotta do this quick. If you can't sew, sorry, you had to wait a little bit longer. But such is life. Things work that way. So, we take all these pins out here. If you can't sew, there's this wonderful stuff. It's called fray check. So where you'd have a raw edge here, you buy a bottle of fray check it all the way down. That will prevent it from coming apart like it is here. See how I can just pull it? You don't want that to happen with your ring sling. So you'd fray check it, right? All you're going to do is take an accordion. Accordion up, accordion, 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 accordion. Like an accordion, I'm pulling an accordion. Okay. This goes through both of our rings. Since we're missing our rings. We're going to pull it over here. Whoops. Now you lose a lot more fabric, and this is not comfortable. But, I mean, it's not as comfortable as if you had sewed it. You want to get your knot as tight as possible. You don't want your kid to come out. Okay? So this is what it would look like. It's not fancy. I mean, it does kind of look cute right here, you know? However you do it, this way I guess it would be. But that's it, if you can't sew. So, now that we've got a ring sling made, and it's ready to be used, let's thread it. So, I'll do a gathered shoulder in another video. It's a lot easier. I guess I should have broken up. So I just accordion again at the end. And then you want to make sure that you have a nice hammock looking. It looks like a hammock. You're going to put your fabric up through your rings, through both rings. Separate them a little bit. Put it over the first ring and through the second ring. See? Over the first, through the second, and pull it to where you have something that looks like this. So because this was a lot way too big for me, I'm going to pull it way through. Yes. Okay. Video issues, camera issues. Okay. So my son's asleep. That's the only time I can do videos. So we're just going to be doing it with my son asleep. Okay. So I put my rings right on my shoulder here. So now we have this nice big open pouch, right? Okay. So this is my baby, and I grab him on his bum and slide, put him on my shoulder this way, slide him down into here. I'm going to throw this over my shoulder for a minute. One leg here, the other leg is here. Now, I take this fabric and shove it up under his bum all the way up to his belly button if I can get it. That's a nice good seat. We're going to pull it all the way up over his shoulders. My guy likes his arms out. So then I would start to pull on the various rails See, I pull this one to get my top rail nice and snug. And I'm going to pull this bottom one to get my bottom rail nice and snug. And then you can pull throughout to make sure that everything is, he's really high, so that way I can get it all on camera. If he was down low on my hip, it wouldn't be on camera, but this is what it looks like. See how his legs are nice and high above his butt, his knees are above his butt. And then if I was going to do it on my hip, which is how I wear my son, you just put him down here and do all the same stuff. You still work with the same rails, working and pulling everything through like you would. So that's it. Hopefully everything, your ring slings come out. If you have any questions, or I'm going to be doing a gathered shoulder, but for now that's it.